What's up, folks? Welcome to the Triple B TV live stream. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being there in the comments early. I saw some pretty cool things in there. Somebody said something about class to lepus. Oh man, I messed that up, didn't I? Scott will correct me when he comes on. Before we get our guest on, I wanted to make a couple announcements. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who is going out and supporting USARK. There's been a huge push these past couple weeks. Very inspiring to see that happening. Even our neighbors up in Canada are making it happen. The live stream of the day with Billy, they raised a ton. There's lots of people in Canada that are joining up on USARK, even though they're not even in the United States. Very inspiring stuff. I'm very happy to see all this happening. It's really made my week feel very good. Couple other announcements. This tub right here, the FB28 CV, this should be going up on the website, Freedom Breeder website, in like, I don't know, as soon as I'm done with this live stream, maybe, for everybody that's been waiting for that. Also, with the Texas Relief Fund, I just read that John Lehman, the creative Morph Market, is going to be hosting the fundraisers over on the Morph Market community page. So make sure you go find that over there. I guess people have been reporting the page. I don't know what type of person reports a charity page on Facebook, but since that's been happening multiple times, I think the idea is move it over to John's thing over on Morph Market where you can't get zucked, and that's where that's going to be. But I'm really looking forward to bringing our guest on, and you are watching. Oh, wait, one more thing. As I realize I'm about to go push the button myself, I wanted to publicly shame one of my family members. My cousin, supposed to be his first night here touching these buttons for me so that I don't have to hold this little thing and focus on this. I hope he's in the chat right now. He's going to get fired before he even gets hired. He's supposed to be here tonight getting paid, pushing the buttons for me. But he blamed his parents, blah, blah, blah. I've been there. I blame my parents unsuccessfully. It's all right. You're watching Triple B TV. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Borden. Thank you for being here, Scott.
Thank you for having me, my friend.
You look a little. You look kind of stressed out back there.
I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
What'd you do today?
Railroad stuff.
You're working on the rail all day long,
Yeah.
just to pass the time away, or to actually get some stuff
I
done?
wish, just to pay the bills.
I wish my cousin was here because his dad and I sing that song, and I think we do a pretty good job. We like harmonize and everything. You know? I've been working on the railroad. He's not here.
Shame on the cousin.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop blasting him now. Maybe. So I don't know if you know this, but I think it was you and some of your pictures that got me totally enamored with Somalia scrub pythons. It's pictures of your Moluccans. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the picture right now. I'm going completely out of order here, but since I mentioned it, I feel like I should pull it up at least. Yeah, that's your male Moluccan scrub python.
Midas, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I posted him a lot, and a lot of people love those pictures. A lot of people love the golden scrub. Better than Bolines, I say.
That's quite a bold statement there, Stir.
I think me and Rob are the only two that have ever said, probably not the only two, but Bolines are overrated. But I mean it all in good fun. It's overrated like LeBron James is overrated. They're still fucking awesome, but I curse a lot. I'm gonna apologize now for that.
I'm not worried about it, man. You say whatever you want. I'll say what I want. You say what you want.
Nice. Yeah. No. Midas, the king of the jungle. He's an awesome snake. I was lucky enough to get him years ago before the price got stupid, and yeah, I love Moluccan scrubs.
Was I? Did I say it right? Clastolepis? Is that the scientific?
Clastolepis, yeah. Somalia clastolepis, yeah. Those are Moluccans. It's funny, people ask me stuff about scrub pythons all the time, and I'm like, I'll be honest with you, relatively, I know nothing about most of the scrubs, but Moluccans I know a lot about. But the other stuff, I mean, I know basics, and I'm friends with all the other scrub guys, but they started asking me like localities of the southerns and stuff. I'm like, man, I can't tell them apart compared to the other guys. Like, I know Moluccans, and that's all I know really.
How do they? So is it the color? Like what is it that made Moluccans stand out to you versus the rest of the Somalia?
Well, I remember the first one I ever got to see and hold. I'm lucky enough to be friends with Chris Foley, who was partners with Owen McIntyre back years ago, keeping snakes and stuff. And the first one I ever saw was at ICAST, the International Collective Arboreal Symposium in Maryland. Oh man, I don't even know how many years ago that was now. But Owen had one of their Moluccans at the time there, and he's like, "Oh, have you ever held a Moluccan?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Here." Held it, fell in love with it, man. Love at first sight. It was just calm, just chill and wrapped around my arm. It wasn't a big scrub compared to what a lot of people are used to. It was, Christ, I don't remember, 4 or 5 foot, and just the golden color of it, just awesome big scales on the head. The whole look of them, just fell in love. And it's funny, sometimes you put the word out when you want something, to just you just put it out there to the universe, and things find a way to happen. And someone was like, "Listen, are you interested in Moluccan?" I said, I am. And he's like, my his female passed away. He's like, "I'm selling my male." This person had other scrubs at the time, so he's like, "Are you interested?" And he told me the price, and I won't even say the price publicly, but it was insane compared to now. And I was like, "I don't care what I'd have to do. Yeah, I'll buy it." So I bought Midas, and then maybe a year later, a buddy of mine in New York at the time, he had tried scrubs and was having trouble with them, and he had 2 Moluccans. I think the female had passed. Oh no, I'm sorry, the male had passed away. And he messaged me and says, "I really want you to buy my female off me. Like I can't do it anymore." She was young too at the time. Now it was like, it was a good price. I just had no room, no money, laying in bed with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. I'm showing her the pictures, and I'm like, I wish I could buy this thing right now. I can't do it. And before that, I had no desire to have more than one. I just wanted the Moluccan as a pet, just because I liked them. And she ended up a couple months later saying, "Oh, I have to go to Syracuse to get your surprise Christmas/birthday present." Well, came home from work the night she came home from Syracuse, and there was a female Moluccan scrub with a cage and everything. So now I have 2 of them.
Nice. What all
Yeah.
different species are you keeping over there? I feel like there's a good plethora of things happening at your place.
There's always like 15 to 18 species of reptiles here. Snake wise, there's a few ball pythons, lots of jungle carpets, the Moluccans, Savu pythons, and white lip pythons. I think that's it for snakes. We have a shit ton of geckos because my wife loves geckos. Shit ton of gargoyles. But then we got a few crested, a couple lychees, one chihuahua. Then we have Clemoride day geckos, electric blue day gecko, Cameroon dwarf day gecko, Saracenorum geckos. I could be missing some. I don't even know. There's a lot up there. And then we got a redfoot tortoise, black roughneck monitor, green tree monitor. Oh, we have a green tree python also. That's the wife's animal. That might be it. I don't know. Any given time, it shifts and changes, I guess. But
That's pretty cool, man. I wish that it would be cool if my wife wanted to have a reptile of her own. I'd be into that, but can't have it all, I guess.
it sounds cool until she doubles the size of your collection while you're dating and getting married and all that. And next thing you know, half the room's geckos. But it works out though. She's big into plants now too. So now we're obsessed with plants and geckos, and gotta have it all, I guess.
And she's a chef too, right? I know that's why you guys were. Was that why you guys were out in California? Did it have to do with some of her chef stuff, or?
No, that was so we had originally made plans to come to Carpet Fest, and we just made the decision, even though it was canceled and all that, to still. So when we made plans to come to Carpet Fest, we had planned the whole week out already anyway, for vacation. So we just kept those plans. Obviously, ran into you, spent a night drinking and laughing harder than I've laughed in a long time that night. But yeah, no, we were just out there for vacation. Had nothing to do with work. We like to travel as much as possible.
I wish I could remember. Oh, I just had a complete flashback to we were
It was a good night.
Dying. Oh my gosh! I just said it was Joe Rosa, and his comment to his. I don't even remember exactly what he said. I'm almost remembering exactly what he said though.
Yeah, same here. I can almost remember.
It's right there. It's like right on the tip of my brain. I just remember that one little comment, and it was like everybody was dead. I'm pretty sure I fell on the floor. Yeah, that was.
My face was hurting from laughing so hard. It was a good small group of people. Travis was a great host, and you walk in with a box of fucking whiskey and whiskey glasses, and classy as hell. Let me tell you, but we had fun.
Oh yeah. I do that. I'll show up with I just want to make sure that whatever is going to be happening, that I'm going to be happy with whatever is happening, and so I end up showing up with a bunch of these glasses. And you know what though, I go camping with these things. Like I'll go hiking. I'll go up out in the mountains, like 15 miles into the middle of nowhere, carrying some of these things. So it's to show up to somebody's house with them is like a walk in the park.
Oh, I loved it. It was a great night.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of as much as I'm into reptiles, I'm probably equally as into whiskey. Like I probably know an equal amount about reptiles and whiskey, I would say. And it's just
I'm probably just as much into whiskey, but I don't know the amount you know. I just am into drinking it.
Well, you definitely had a good time. That was fun, man. Well, so you're in New York.
I am.
What part of New York?
The Hudson Valley, so about 2 hours north of the city.
Okay. Okay, I think I went hiking up there one time. Not in the Catskills, but there's this spot where there's like all these rocks. It was almost like I felt like I was playing snakes and ladders or chutes and ladders in real life, like crawling through all these different rocks, and there's like little wood ladders taking you through little holes, and there's
was that Mohawk?
Yeah, I think it was. And there's actually like arrows drawn on some of the rocks to like let you know you go this way.
It's called the lemon squeeze.
Ah, okay. I definitely felt like I was the lemon getting squeezed going through some of those spots. So
that's in New Paltz, and that's only 30 minutes from us. We've been there. We have tons of hiking all around us. It's a pretty nice area. We can drive 45 minutes or so in any direction and be in timber rattlesnake country. So,
wow, is that what I'm gonna pull up another picture here. Is that what is happening? What is this pit viper? You and your wife are standing at what looks to be a fairly safe distance behind this snake, or it's a very, very large pit viper.
I know that's a bushmaster. I think I can't see the picture. I think I think the one from our honeymoon though.
Yeah, it could be. I can't. You guys look like you're on a honeymoon.
Our honeymoon. Only we would Herp on a honeymoon.
Wait.
And we did.
So wait. So I digress. The reason I brought up New York is because obviously that's one of the states right now that's facing some climate, the legislative climate in New York. Is that something that happens there on a regular basis? Is this the first time something like this has been tried to be pushed through legislation, or is this a regular occurrence? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
The first of its kind. It's a weird one, this one. But no, New York is no stranger to stupid laws. When I was younger, I mean, the world was always falling here. There was always a legislation that was going to try and take away our rights. Most of it never went through. There was the one that restricted all the species you would expect to be restricted, big stuff, venomous stuff, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I remember the old days. There was always a law coming. I remember the big one was everything was going to be illegal except dogs, cats, and goldfish. But that never went anywhere. They tried the one that's similar to a lot of the other bills that they've been trying to do, is like to make educational shows more difficult. You can't travel and you can't do education type shows. They tried that here, it didn't work. This one's odd, man. This one has no hope of actually going through. Honestly, I mean, I could be wrong. In this world, we never know. But essentially, they're trying to make it completely legal to ship all animals through any type. That all pet stores, every pet store in the state, farms, birds, everything. I don't think it has a chance. So,
Yeah, I don't think
but
so either.
I'm pushing people to do all the emails and all that because you got to still do your due diligence and
Yeah,
try to get ahead of it.
from what it sounded like, what Phil was saying was that that they'll try and push it through right now, and the first time they're not necessarily expecting that it's actually going to go through, but it's almost like a test. Like, we'll push it this time, and he's saying if we don't push back hard enough right now, it's just going to come back around next year. If it doesn't get enough pushback right off the bat, then it has a much higher chance of actually going through at some point if people don't push back.
The lady, the assemblywoman who introduced it, she has a history of this. She has a history of anti-farm and anti-pet bills being or bills that she's been trying to push. So she's obviously going to be the person who's going to keep trying, keep finding what she can do. She also did one of those bills that is supposed to like limit the length of time dogs are outside tied up or something, and I understand those. I do understand where those come from, but at the same time, I have snow dogs, and I'm like, you ever tried telling a husky to come in out of the snow? Good luck.
Oh, I think I saw the picture you posted of your dog outside. It looked very at home in the snow.
Oh God, super happy. But yeah, it's one assemblywoman right now, most likely backed by animal rights groups. I'm sure lobbied to her, and someone I know talked to their assembly person or someone else who isn't on the committee, which doesn't really matter at this point. Like if you talk to your assembly person and they're not in the committee that's dealing with it, at this stage it doesn't really matter because they have nothing to do with it. They're not in the committee that's discussing it. But that assembly person had said they wouldn't support it if it gets out of committee. So my hope is we're going to squash this in committee and move on. Wait for the next one, I guess. But it's what it is.
Yeah, I suppose so. I guess the fight's never really over. I guess there's a constant.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing. I've seen a lot of people sharing a petition going around. Here's the thing with petitions. They don't do a whole lot, if I'm honest. From what I understand from other friends of mine who have fought reptile legislation in other states heavily, they've talked to politicians and the people that work for them, and those petitions don't do a heck of a lot. Now, I'm not saying don't sign it, but I'm saying don't sign that in the 2 seconds it takes to sign it and ignore the things that we need to do, which is emails, letters, and especially phone calls. So if you're in New York right now, you should be finding out who your assembly person is. If they are on the committee for agriculture, you should be trying to contact them in person, phone call. So I'm trying to contact mine because she is on the committee for agriculture. So hopefully I'll get a hold of her soon and be able to discuss it. But I don't have very high hopes this is going to go out of committee because I have it on good authority that the farm organizations, as well as some pretty large bird organizations, surprisingly, are well aware of what's going on, and I'm sure are fighting this behind the scenes as well. So,
yeah, that's good to hear. I know the most recent one that I saw pop up on the USARK newsletter and website was the Illinois one that they're trying to push through, and yeah, it seems like there's more big things like that coming. Like, it's only February, and it seems like there's been a lot in this first couple months of the year.
I said on NPR last year during COVID, I made a bold statement. I said at some point we may really lose this battle altogether at the federal level because of the pandemic. Because to me, animal rights is being given a golden ticket with the pandemic. Even though we know that it wasn't caused by reptiles, and no pandemic has ever started from reptiles. Politicians don't care about that shit. Animal rights is probably going to use that. I think the only saving grace right now, it hasn't happened yet, is because there's so much shit going on. Obviously, the political landscape is a nightmare, and there's enough drama and crap with that they're not really looking at that yet. But 5 years from now, I think we need to be very careful and be on our guard for that. But animal rights is definitely making a big push at the state level, which they do. It's early in the year, and they do make big pushes during the early legislation days. So, I feel for Florida. Florida's the one who's they're constantly fighting. And from what I understand, the problem there is Fish and Wildlife has been infiltrated by PETA people. So the people who make the decisions for a lot of that stuff is now animal rights activists. I don't even know how you fight that. I really don't. But
yeah, well,
Florida and Illinois should be the Tegu ban. Those should be those should be the focus right now in the community. I think New York, we're going to handle it. I hope, and we should be able to squash the New York shit.
Yeah, Florida seems to be the forefront of like you said, most of the things that are happening legislative wise. Luckily, they have. I mean, that's must be why they formed a whole section of USARK just for Florida, because of how much is going on down there. I'm glad that there are some very knowledgeable folks down there that are working with Phil.
It's a nightmare. It really is. It's tough, man. We were just down there and saw the python hunters, which was weird. That was strange, but don't mind me.
So,
but
your blog. I want to talk a little bit about your blog, man, because I remember when you first. I think it was when you first started it. I remember I was reading some of them. I just read the one you put up most recently, just a couple weeks ago, about RIs. And there is, for everybody that's watching, there is a link down in the description for Scott's blog. I really like the way that you write them. They seem very well thought out, and you kind of like whatever topic you're writing about, you cover kind of all the bases. And the other great thing is that it's not like, it doesn't take too much time, and it's Medium. So it's medium.com/ or at Morelia33. Is that correct?
So the easiest way is just go to medium.com and search my actual name, Scott Borden. Yeah, there is I forget the exact address I have it on my phone.
Yeah, and the link's down below too. All you have to do is click on it. It'll take you right to your page. So yeah, and it even tells you like how long you can expect the read to take, and it's like, oh, I got 6 minutes. I can sit here and read this real quick.
Yeah, it's interesting how it does that. I'm like, so that actually ties into the USARK thing, kind of. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be releasing my newest blog, and it's going to be it's kind of a combination of things I've wanted to write about for a while, and sometimes I gotta take time to organize the thoughts in my head over some of these things. Sometimes the ideas I want to write about are too big, it's too much, and I'm like, I gotta find a way to actually write about it, so it doesn't take an hour to read, or it's something you can follow. So hopefully tomorrow, as long as I can get it edited and cleaned up in time, which I should be able to, I'm going to release a blog called Toxicity in the Reptile Community: Why We Must Change. And it's going to touch on a lot of stuff recently, and why we need to change in order to come together and fight all the legislation and stuff that we're going to be seeing. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. There's going to be more legislation. And, I'm really pumped to see this push for USARK to fund them. But a week from now, we'll see 1% of the amount of people posting about it. Because this isn't the first time we've seen this. A good push for USARK, and then it kind of dies off. I hope it doesn't. I hope we can keep it going. But even if we did, I don't think we can compete funding wise with animal rights. But what we can do is form our numbers, because the only thing politicians care more about is voters and re-election than money. So we really need to come together, and we also need to find a way to integrate better just the pet owner. Sometimes the community of breeders, forgets about the other 90% of reptile keepers, which is the person that has one or two animals. And we really got to find a way to bring them in. Because I saw Rob Creeping It Real from Nerd there. He posted saying there's about 3 million reptile owners in the U.S. And I bet you 2,500,000 of them are just pet owners. They're not breeders. They're not you. They're not me. They're not the more serious hobbyists. They're just 2, 3 animals, 4 animals. They enjoy the animals. They love the animals, but we've done a bad job of including them in the fight because we look down on how they maybe keep the thing husbandry wise, or sometimes they come into a Facebook group and like, hey, I just got this snake, can someone help me with care? And we immediately turn into, you should have researched it before. Well, these motherfuckers don't remember when we were kids, and I probably didn't research my first snake the way I should have before I got it. My first snake was a ball python in a 10-gallon tank or 20-gallon tank. I think I still got the picture just to remember it and keep myself humble from that point. Cardboard box as a hide, heat lamp. That snake lived for 16 years before it died of a random unfortunate illness. But
you took the words out of my mouth, man. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth with the.
Like I said, I got a lot of it in the blog. Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, I was the same. I was part of that statistic that you rambled off there for most of my life. Just one snake in a tank with a heat rock.
Yeah.
And
we forget that. We forget that in the world that we live in now. There's a way we all keep things, but we forget where we came from. And those people still exist, and it's the 90% of us that we need for this battle, for the numbers against animal rights, organizations. And I don't know. I got a lot of stuff written in that blog. Hopefully everybody reads it tomorrow. But
I had no idea you were putting out your next one tomorrow, so this is perfect timing.
I didn't either till recently. I actually have other blogs I have written that I just need to edit, clean up, and build in the platform. But man, the last couple of weeks is I don't know. I've just been seeing stuff going on with certain situations, and I don't know. I just felt like it was time to write this blog. And with everything going on, I'm hoping I can just motivate more people to, first off, stop being assholes. And I'm guilty too, man. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've had ego. I mean, plenty of times. I've been an asshole plenty of times. I'm trying to be better. But the thing is, we got to stop that shit and come together. And that's part one. Part two is we got to get behind USARK.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's been I was very close in some of the stuff you're talking about just recently. I don't care to be part of anything like that again, honestly. And it was.
No, I mentioned it in the blog actually.
Yeah, and like you said though, the push for USARK this past week and a half has been phenomenal. I mean, you got people from I put out a video that fortunately got about as much traction I was hoping it was going to. And from that, I know that there's people that even in not even just like our folks in Canada, there's been a big push there even recently. There's folks in the Netherlands, in Sweden. We have people joining USARK from across the world right now. And even people that don't keep animals are joining USARK. People that don't have pet reptiles are joining USARK. It's phenomenal. I really hope we can keep that ball rolling, man. It's
the reptile community in the micro is incredible. They do amazing things. You know it. You've seen it. Fundraising for people that go through hardships. I was married by reptile breeders. Like most of my friends are reptile guys. Like, some of the very best of humanity is in the small numbers. In the macro, the reptile community is very large, and it's not unlike anything else where people are in large numbers and it gets stupid and it gets toxic. Look at our country right now. It's incredibly toxic, and that's what happens. There's a lot of bad attributes that are human nature, like hypocrisy and all these other things. It's just human nature. But as a community, we have to get over that and start looking at being more empathetic and understanding. Maybe reach out to the person that you hate, and we shouldn't hate anybody anymore. I mean, this idea of hating people is just stupid. But reach out to the person you disagree with most and have a conversation. Start a conversation, see where it goes.
Yeah.
Just ideas. Just like devil's advocate.
It's a good idea, and doing it, having a conversation, like talking instead of text. Because text, I mean, the internet has been such a great way to reach a bunch of people and network, but at the same time, there so much of it is text-based communication, which can be so detrimental. So much can be lost if you're not having a phone call with somebody. That's why I love to have phone calls with people as much as possible, because like half the time, if it's slightly like touchy, if it's even mildly touchy, and you're doing it through text, like immediately the emotions just kind of take over and it gets blown way out of proportion, versus if you jump on the phone and you can hear somebody's voice. I mean, like our mutual friend Riley sent me a text the other day and I was like, what the hell? And so I just jumped right on the phone. I was like, dude, what the hell? And then few sentences in, like, because of having a phone conversation and talking to each other and being able to hear each other's voices, I feel like it went completely the way that it should and was intended to go, versus, hashing it out over a text message.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the micro. The macro, the problem is Facebook is a huge thing, and these reptile groups are huge, and the problem is it's a snowball effect, right? Like, it becomes this big thing and like full of toxicity. Like one-on-one, if me and you have a problem with each other and we talk about it, we get past it. Small groups talk about it, get past it. But reptile groups, it becomes a snowball that you can't even track anymore, and it's just toxic on whatever the problem is.
Yeah, I had mostly jumped away from Facebook groups for that reason, almost entirely. I don't know what it was that had me go curiously poke in there, but I feel like it could have been at any point. Like whenever I just happened to poke back into a Facebook group, it would have been, it's like it never stopped. I just stopped paying attention to it. I don't know.
Dude, it's sad because a lot of the old school guys, the ones that were on Facebook or had been on social media, like take the carpet community for instance. A lot of the very experienced keepers and stuff, they stepped away from social media, and I get it, man. I get it. It's toxic, and you gotta deal with all the drama and people that don't know you. Like there's people. I heard you guys talking about Keith the other night. You and Garrett and Rob and Jeremy, and some of people talking down on Keith in groups. I'm like, Keith is a legend and one of the nicest guys in the hobby, and someone I'm lucky enough to call a friend, and I can talk to him at any given time about whatever I want to talk about, and that type of crap happens in the group. But at the same time, while I understand that, the majority of these people are still in groups, and like that's the only reason I'm still sticking around, and I think that's the reason I started writing blogs. So like my idea behind the blog was, here's my opinion or perspective, and there's a lot less discussion about it that can get sidetracked and turn toxic. Like, here it is. Here's my whole explanation on this situation or whatever it is. That way, it's not a group where we're talking and maybe we argue about it. If I write my whole blog and my whole explanation instead of a little comment about the situation, if you disagree with me, then you comment on it and then we can talk about it. And maybe I go more your way, maybe you go more my way, maybe we meet in the middle, whatever it is. But that was part of the reason I did the blogs.
No, I think you're right. That's a good point. And I noticed that too reading it. It's like you get, instead of a little short blurb or comment on a certain situation or topic, you got a whole thought, like a whole series of thoughts that's put together. And if you read it, and it doesn't take that long either, like yours are perfect. They're like 6 to 8 minute reads. you like get the whole, you get to get through all the nuance that gets lost if it like
It's
even
on purpose too.
yeah, and even the
The
longest
length.
Facebook comment is never anywhere near a 6 to 8 minute read. But and that's probably one of the issues. Is like you've got how much time do you have to type before the other person replies, right?
Exactly. And you end up in this game of typing, and you're just commenting on something they commented earlier that you're trying to debate, but they're already on the next point. And it's really a messy way to discuss things. And just so we're clear, I'm not saying we shouldn't debate things in this hobby. I'm not saying we shouldn't call out the negative. I thought you guys did a great job the other night when you called out the negative on that situation the way you did, because it was face to face, and because it was harsh, but it was needed. And I think there needs to be more of that. We still need debate. We still need to call out things like, there's certain things with some of the more well-known people with big social media followings that I don't agree with. And, if I want to debate them, I can always hit them up and discuss it. But, we can't just let strong opinions from some of these people or certain things. We can't let everything just be ruined by disagreeing with people about things anymore.
Yeah.
We have to discuss it one-on-one or in smaller groups, and we just got to find a way to get rid of the toxicity out of the community.
I gotta say, one of my favorite people that's really good at disagreeing is Clint over at Clint's Reptiles. Like he does such a great job of like, no matter what it is, what side he's on of the issue, like does such a great job of like being aware of what the good points are on the other side of any argument, and it makes it real easy to listen to any opinion he has, regardless of what side of that issue I feel I'm on. It's an art that not many people are true artists at, but he's one of those guys I think that really pulls it off, and he's a good example. If anybody's ever like read some of his Facebook posts, even like his ability to remain calm, and it just seems like there's like he's explaining the points, and he's just a good example to look for if you're looking for like how can I like articulately have a disagreement through text. Like just go look at some of Clint's back and forths on Facebook, and it's like, wow, that was great.
It's tough to do.
It is.
It's funny because sometimes if you're knowledgeable enough on a topic, you can almost debate both sides of it. You can almost argue for both sides of the topic, depending what it is. And then I think that's what you mentioned with Clint, with the way he debates things or discusses things. You just got to come with people from kindness, and sometimes they're going to come at you extremely aggressively. And I had that one memorable time. I forget who it was. We're arguing something with carpet pythons, and that's one of the things where like I give very little leeway in my arguing because like certainly no expert, and there's certainly things to grow with, but like I do know somewhat what I'm talking about with carpet pythons, and they were arguing some point, and but I came at them from kindness, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do what everyone expects me to do tonight, which is be an asshole, rip his head off. So I'm going to come at him with kindness. Say, look, I really am not being a dick. Here's why I'm saying what I'm saying, blah, blah. Kind, he was toxic. That person actually messaged me a couple days later and said, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know you. Like, I acted like I did. I don't actually know you. Because I forget what it was, but they were, oh, that's right. I forget the term they called it. Riley actually wrote a blog for me using all about this. I can't remember what the hell it was. But it was like grandstanding type of a thing, and I was like, dude, I don't even know you. You don't know me. Like, I'm not sure why you're coming at me like this. But I came at him from kindness and empathy. Was not a dick at all. 2 days later, he messaged me and says, you were right. Like, I don't know you. Like, I'm just having a bad day. Like, I got a lot going on. It all came out the wrong way. I apologize. And I said, look, I understand it. This is how this goes. Like, I'm used to it. I've had some fucked up shit said about me before. And that wasn't that bad. You didn't hurt my feelings, man. It's cool. You were having a bad day. Honestly, there was another time in my life when I would have came at you completely differently, and it would have gotten worse. I think that was the start of me maturing. Maybe I don't know.
It happens at some points. It happens much later for some people than others. I'd say that it's a whole different world when you're doing it online. I mean, it's new to all of us, right? It's new to us as a society, as a species, for everybody around the world. The internet's new for everybody, and the ability to communicate with so many people at the drop of a dime, any time of day, any time of night, instantly. That's such a new concept, relatively speaking, and so it takes some getting used to. I remember some of my first YouTube videos, and I feel like I learned it pretty quickly. Like there's definitely been some comments where people came in trying to just like on attack mode, but with like maybe a valid point in there somewhere, even though it was full attack. And I got fairly. I'm not perfect. I don't always stick to this, but even back then, in the beginning days, I was able to like, just be like, remain neutral and just be like, well, here's why that, and like, and actually, yeah, sometimes I am an ass, and like just be like, not be defensive about it and just be like, as matter of fact as possible. And like you're saying, I remember in many instances, I remember one guy in particular in Scotland, they just have different laws over there concerning knives, versus here where it's like, it's my tool. I have it with me everywhere. I use it to pick my teeth. I use it to open everything. It's like you can walk down the street with it. It's not going to be, I'm not going to jail for it. And I just kind of said some stuff like that. And then a couple days later had to reply. He's like, I was just having a really bad day. I didn't realize like how things are over there and this and that. And like, we ended up becoming like friends. Somebody I'd never known from another country, other side of the world. It could have just been the opposite of that, but just taking a step back and being like, it is what it is. It can go either way so quickly. It can go negative much faster, I think. But if you just step back, the relationships you can potentially build with people around the world, it's so powerful if you can just like take that second to step back and allow it to happen the way that it should be done, which is like successful communication, using the tool of this powerful communication tool of the internet to successfully communicate with somebody. The power of it is it's there if you just like can step back and use it for what it's meant to be.
Dude, if we could just get over ourselves, we had so much fun. I remember Gary Vee making that video during the worst of the Trump time period when the country's at its throat, and he was just like, man, like, God, if we could just come together and like just focus on what we have in common. Like, we have so much fun together. Like, I think about that. Like, I have a lot of friends who are in the hobby that are very much the opposite fundamentally in their perspectives of a lot of the hot political topics, if you will. And they're still some of the closest friends I have, and I would, be there for them in a moment. And same with them for me, like their family. And we have very strong disagreements on certain things in life, but you don't focus on that. You focus on what you have in common. I love the reptiles, which is first and foremost. And we just want the best for each other's families and shit. We don't want the worst for it. Just because you believe in differently of this topic or that topic completely differently, still at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Like, you're going through some shit, I'm there for you. If I'm going through shit, you're there for me. And that's what we need to find a way to do better as a community.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, man. I mean, you're preaching to the choir right now. I love that. I've got a lot of my really good friends that I do things with often in the reptile community. I mean, I'll just blast him right here. Dave Kaufman. Me and that guy are probably polar opposites on so many things, but it doesn't matter. Like, I love that guy, and we have so much fun when we get together, like constantly, like all the time. And yet, regardless of like some of our deep-seated beliefs on some things, that doesn't get in the way. We're able to like not let that get in the way of being able to be friends and have a successful relationship regardless of any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, like you're saying, you should be able to get past that stuff, because if you base your ability to get along with people based on them believing what you believe, how are we gonna, that's the recipe for failure. We're just gonna fail. We can't do that. Like you're
So
saying.
the reptile community is I always say is just like the larger community in terms of politics. It's very similar in that you let the different online, you let the differences divide you, and you hate the person that does this. And I've seen people with politics and liberals or conservatives, they're the fucking problem of this country. But I'm like, you don't know what your neighbor is. Your neighbor could be that liberal that you want to see leave the country or something, or that conservative that you want to see leave the country. But you don't pay attention to the things that on social media everyone's paying attention. You just, how's the family? You're just talking pleasantries. And it's very much similar in the reptile community, like a carpet fest. I've been to most of the OG carpet fest, all but the first one because I didn't know about it in the Northeast. And I've been to Southeast, and I don't know if we count what we had as a carpet fest or not, but I'll count it a little bit.
I think based on the amount of laughter that happened, I think we can count it.
And the amount of drinking. But you don't concentrate on the things that separate you at that time. You have the commonality with those people who love reptiles and the things you usually talk about. And I've been in Northeast with some of these friends of mine that are completely opposite of me on the spectrum of things I believe in outside of reptiles. And we might joke about it for a minute, but most of the night is not that. Most of the night you're spending catching up, talking about families, talking about your animals, talking about just things like that. And that's what we need more as overall. But yeah, the community, we have to find a way. We really need to find a way. We need to find a way to come together more, and we need to find a way to bring in those pet owners, our army in the dark, if you will. The 2+ million people that just have 1 or 2 animals. Well,
that's where COVID and this whole pandemic thing has definitely thrown a huge monkey wrench in that, because the inability to go to all these big shows that would have been happening for the past year. That's where so many folks that have those 1 or 2 animals, or even just thinking about getting an animal, like, let's go, there's a big reptile show, let's go check it out. And even just for us as a community, because everything that happens for the most part, like negatively in society these days, seems to occur on the internet. And if you go out in person, you see people in person, like maybe you'll have a bar fight or something, but like for the most part, everybody's getting along. It's like if you go on the internet, go on the computer, communicating through the phones and the internet. But in person, it's like not that at all. Anywhere I've been, like where I live, it's not. Where I live in particular, I'm in California, but I'm also in a spot where like half of the houses around here are flying Trump stuff, and none of that matters to any of us. Like we're out there. There's not a single person out here in our community, in our town. Like even just today or yesterday, I took the kids to get donuts. Everybody in line is talking to each other, like, and that's what I love about, I happen to live in this place that's like that. I can't say the same for all the big cities here in California, but we're lucky here in this area. Nobody turns a blind eye to each other out here. And I'm fortunate for where we're at, but it gives me hope for humanity as a whole. And if we can, but like I'm saying, the things in person, I'm just hoping we can get back to these shows. It sounds like Arlington is going to happen in April, and I'm planning to go because I'm like, I need to.
It's funny because the way people talk about California outside of California and how horrible it is and how it's all the liberals and that, I'm like, you're bitching about what the politicians do out there, but if you go to California, like some of my greatest friends are in California, you yourself included, Brandon, Travis, Tony, it's that the list goes on and on. It's not the people, man. It's the politicians that ruin it. It's the same in New York. And it's funny. I was talking to my mom the other day, and so I mentioned to her that at some point, me and my wife are probably going to move out of New York, just because the only reason we're in New York is because of my job. She can actually, with her chef and culinary degree and all that, she can get a good job anywhere. I don't have that degree. I work for the railroad. We make a decent living. I'm lucky enough to own a home in one of the most expensive states to do so. But our heart's not here. We're gonna travel some more. She likes Texas. We haven't been there yet. Well, I don't know if she's been there, but I haven't been there. But we want to travel more and probably move at some point. So I'm probably not gonna retire with the railroad. But I mentioned Texas, and my mom said, "Oh, you're gonna move there? That's a real conservative state." And I said, you're not thinking about this clearly. I said, first off, I'm not conservative or liberal. I think they're both a joke. I think it's both a divide. It's a tool to divide us. I said, but I said, you forget where we live. We live in New York, but what people don't understand about New York is red outside New York City. It's very conservative outside New York City. I said, but that doesn't define the people. I said, I'm around conservatives and liberals every day. That's not what we talk about most of the time. We don't talk about the politics of it. I don't care where we move. It doesn't matter what color the state is. It's the other things. It's cost of living and things of that nature, which is all the animals involved. And she wants to move somewhere where plants grow easier than this fucking iceland there in the winter. But it was just weird. Mom's like, oh, that's a very red state. And I said, but we live in a very red area of our state. That means nothing to me. I don't follow that. And it's funny because people talk about the fake media, but then they share all this crap on social media. You're just sharing fake crap. It's the same thing. Social media is faker than the real media. That media, it's all based on which side wants to push an agenda, and it's crazy because the reptile community is so similar to the way politics are sometimes, with the way we divide ourselves and the way we argue over stupid shit. And there's sometimes we argue over things that matter, and it's some of it's good arguments, some of it's good debates that grow us as a community and grow our skill set to keep these animals better. Because at the end of the day, that's really all that fucking matters, is that we keep the animals as well as we can and as healthy as they can for as long as whatever their longevity is for that period of time. That's all. That's the other reason I write the blogs. I'm just trying to help people based on either my fuck ups or my knowledge that I've gained from other people. Like the things I know, I don't attribute it to me. I attribute it to my friends who do this longer than I, or at least a similar time that I, that knew better. And I also spent a lot of time in like other communities. Like I spent time in the old days dabbling in the monitor forums. Always dabble in monitors. You learn so much more from the other communities than the one you're in. Just care tricks and care ideas and just different perspectives that you had, working with whatever you were working with.
Yeah, that last blog you wrote, there was plenty of good stuff. I mean, anybody who has never dealt with that type of thing, the amount of information that you got out of that thing in just the 5 minutes. I mean, it said it was 6 minutes. It just took me 5. It was just so good. It was dense with very helpful information, like what to look for, what to do, and why, and just like that. I mean, and I thought the point about like quarterbacking the vet, because a lot of vets, not everybody has access to a vet like Dr. Scott, that's like really way into reptile keeping and keepers. Like, not everybody has access to a guy like that. I wish everybody did, and it's just not the reality. But to be there and sometimes know that you might know a little bit more than your vet, whatever vet you might have you go to, and make sure you have that knowledge so that when you go to them, you can work together and not let them do the wrong thing for your animal because they don't know what they're doing.
It's a shitty thing, but it's fact. It is what it is. Like, if you have a very good reptile vet, good for you. Like, God, I'm jealous. There is a vet that the Bronx Zoo, from what I understand, uses occasionally. I mean, they have their own vet crew, so I don't think they need to use them really. But there's a actual exotic and avian vet, but they're pretty far away. As far as local vets, my first respiratory infection years ago, I tried one, and dude, it was a nightmare. Not really a nightmare, but it was, everything she told me would have, as far as what I should do as far as keeping, and it was a jungle carpet. Like, I've been keeping jungles for years. Like, it was winter, it was breeding season. She was stressed out because the male was pressuring her. I knew what it was. And, she wanted me to heat the snake up to 95 degrees. I'm like, whoa, you're going to dehydrate this thing before you're even doing anything. So when Calypso got a respiratory infection a few months back, I tried a vet right up the road that saw reptiles. And the girl I dealt with, the vet I dealt with, was fantastic. She's not an expert. she doesn't claim to be, a reptile specialist. She has some knowledge of reptiles. She's kept snakes before. And instead of the other vet that didn't really want to hear my opinions or my thoughts on it, she's worked very well with me, to decide on how to move forward and all that. And the difference was she impressed me because she brought the culture up before I had to. She said, I really want to send out, a culture. And I said, you made me happy saying that, because the other vet didn't even want to do that. So this is good. And yeah, she's been fantastic. We're actually going to switch our dogs to them also, because our dog, the vet I've used for years with dogs, unfortunately they got too big, and she brought in a new vet who sucks. I have not been happy with the way they have treated our dogs in the last 2 years or 3 years. So we're going to switch all of our zoo is going to come to this one, which is great because it's 3 minutes down the road. So
it's fantastic, man. Yeah, finding a good vet, that's not easy. Depends on where you're at. Who happens to be close to you. You get lucky or you don't. Or there's a good database out there somewhere. I wish I could remember the name of the website right now, but it's such a great data for reptile vets, like all across the country. I don't remember what it's called. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I do, sort of. But I know what you're talking. I can't think of it.
Yeah, it's
the secret is find one that will work with you, but also find yourself the right community with those animals that will also help you. Because I've been keeping jungle carpets for I don't even know anymore. 18 years maybe. I don't know. So that's a species I'm very comfortable with, very experienced with. So I can quarterback it. Other people, that are the pet owner that have one or two ball python or whatever, they may not feel as comfortable quarterbacking vet treatment for that animal. Find a community, a strong community of friends that has maybe a little more experience than you, that can help you, give you the questions or the directives you should give your vet. They can't tell you how to treat, they can't tell you what it is, but they can help you along the lines of the right questions, or help you make sure that the vet's not giving you the wrong information. Like a vet tried to give me to make my carpet dehydrate itself during treatment for respiratory infection. That's the best you can do is find a community of people that are there to help you, which hopefully after all this, after I write this blog, hopefully there's a lot more people willing to be a better community. I don't know, but
yeah. Riley dropped it down there. ARAV is the site to find the vets.
Okay. Hi, Riley. Miss you. Love you.
Yeah. Next time you come out
Thank you
here.
both, by the way, for the you and Riley for the suggestion on the paper or the bedding for tubs from what's his name?
Yeah.
I didn't get them yet, but I ordered some.
Yeah, so. I swear by that stuff, man. It's just like the feel of it and the way it it's just so natural feeling, and is natural. It's like the closest thing you can get to. In fact, when there was a time when I thought he was going to stop making it, and I was like, no, please don't stop. I don't want to go back to the regular. No, it doesn't sound like it.
So my grandparents would save newspapers for me because they got the newspaper every day. And my grandmother passed away last year, and my grandfather has thank you. And my grandfather, honestly, I'm surprised he's still alive. He's got dementia. He's not really here anymore. So my dad obviously stopped the newspaper deliveries because he's not reading the newspaper anymore. So I don't get the free the bags of newspapers that my grandma used to save me. So I finally had to find something, and you and Riley gave me that suggestion. So I just ordered stuff for all my tubs the other night from them. So I'm looking forward to getting it.
Yeah, it's CMC Reptiles is my buddy Ed Villardo. If anybody's looking for it, you can email him, cmcreptiles@gmail.com. It's fantastic stuff. I don't know how I was dealing with any type of paper substrate that wasn't that before, but trying to go back is not something I want to even think about. I use it for the for the retics, especially because they're piss machines, and it soaks up so amazingly well. And he's making ones for all the different sizes that have cutouts for the paper, for the water water spots. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
fantastic, man.
Really nice guy too. I messaged him. He's a very, very nice guy. He was very helpful. So
Yeah,
looking forward to getting that product.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great guy, man. Well, shoot, Scott. Before we jump over to the Q&A after call thing, is there anything you would like to say before we jump off of the live part of the stream?
I don't know. Is there anything you want me to say? I don't know. I think we covered a lot of some good stuff tonight.
Yeah,
like I said, I got the blog coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, again,
I hope I should be able to get it edited. I should be able to get it edited. So let me say this. I'm not an English major. I'm not a writing major. I'm none of that. I feel very comfortable doing podcasts and things like this. I'm not. I dabbled in YouTube. I'm not very good at that for some reason. Like I like editing videos, but I'm not very good at like presenting myself on video. But so when I write a blog, I go through and I write the rough draft, and then I spend like a ridiculous amount of time reading it over and over, going through, making corrections. So like if I make spelling errors or anything, I apologize. I'm not a writer. I just, I just try to write in an entertaining but informational way. But like, yeah, I'm not a writer by trade. I'm just a reptile guy.
I didn't catch any. I would catch it. I would catch the grammatical errors because I tend to do that. I didn't catch any, at least in the latest one. I didn't catch anything at all, and it was easy.
I've gotten better. I've learned. I've gotten better, man. And I go back every once in a while and I read some of my old ones, and I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, this is awful. I can write this so much better now because it's one of those things you do it and you get better at it. But like I said, I'm still not perfect. But like I said, I told Rob from Nerd the other night, I really think when I was talking about it, I said I think this blog might be one of the most important I've ever written if it's read. It's kind of one of those things like USARK is only as good as the amount of people that donate. Like this one will be as impactful as the amount of people that read it. If a lot of people read it, I hope it's impactful. Hope people enjoy it. But it's not as sexy as some of the other topics, so maybe it won't get read as much. I hope it does. It's written in a way that I hope it is.
Well, hopefully everybody in here goes and reads it, and then I'll read it as soon as you put it out. And if I like it, then I'll share it too.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you for coming on, Scott. I appreciate you, man. I'll see you in just a minute.
No, I appreciate you having me on, bud.
Yes, sir, man. I'll see you in just a moment. Okay.
Yep. No worries.
Oh, see, that little snake thing wouldn't have popped up again if my cousin was here. There it is. See, there it is. I'm calling you out one last time there, Vincent. You make that thing happen, my friend. Next week, you'll be here. Please. I don't want to do this button touching anymore. I just want to talk to my guests and not think about all the things I'm messing up while I'm trying to do it. Thanks again, Scott, for coming on. Dude, guys, check out his blog. It's very good. I don't really read. Actually, Scott's blog is the only blog I read. And I've tried to read some others, but Scott's is very easy to read. And if you're into reptiles, I mean, you're picking the right thing. So go check that out. And if you want to join us afterwards, there's a link down below. If you have questions you want to ask Scott one-on-one over the video call, you can do that as well. And next week, we're having on somebody else. Jason Bigler, actually, is coming on. And we'll see you then. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you again for everybody supporting USARK. And you guys take care. See you soon.